Today our lecture is based on organ of digestion. The food which enters in the mouth is in complex form. When it is converted into simpler form, then it is absorbed by the alimentary canal. So for its conversion into assimilable products, their absorption and expulsion of unutilizable residues are carried out by the digestive system. The system consists of alimentary canal and variety of glands associated with it. The alimentary canal begins at the oral cavity and progresses through pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine, then terminate at the anus. The associated glands include the salivary gland, liver, and pancreas. The oral cavity itself consists of tooth and tongue. They are helpful for grinding and mixing of the saliva into the oral cavity. So, first of all, the organ of digestion is tooth. In the mammal, the tooth is present in diaphyodont. That means dentition consists of two types of tooth. One is deciduous, it is also called milk teeth, and another one is permanent set. These are integumentary derivatives. In among them, four types of teeth are present in the mammal, which are incisor, canine, premolar, and molar. Both of teeth have same basic plan. Generally, mammals' tooth is morphologically distinguished into the crown, which projects beyond the gum, and root, which is implanted in a jaw socket or alveolus. A slight constriction occurs between the crown and root is called neck. Every tooth consists of enamel, dentine, and cementum, which is seen in the figure. All are calcified tissues. Its central hollow is filled with a soft tissue called dental pulp. Hence, the cavity is known as pulp cavity. The root has a terminal opening, the apical foramen. The tooth itself is arises from the tooth bud or germ. The tooth is implanted into the alveolar process projecting from the jaw bones contain alveoli. The teeth are anchored to these by connective tissue membrane called periodontal membrane. It consists of dense collagenous fibers embedded at one end into the alveolar bone and at other into the cementum. So from these two processes, the tooth are implanted into the alveolar bone. The mucous membrane of mouth form external covering or gum for the alveolar bone. The part of gum is in contact with the crown, which is tightly surrounds each tooth like a collar. The tooth itself consists of three parts and central cavity, which is known as pulp cavity. So its structure is expanded into the pulp chamber, while through the root extends the narrow root or pulp canal. The pulp cavity is filled with pulp, which is a mesenchyme-like connective tissue containing collagenous and reticular fibers and many stellate cells and few macrophages in a mucous matrix. The pulp is abundantly supplied with nerve fibers, which are pain receptors, and small nutritive blood and lymph vessels, all of which pass through one or more tiny apical foramen. The pulp dentine interface a line with a layer of columnar odontoblast cells. Dentine forms the bulk of the tooth. It is hard than bone, and when fresh it is yellowish in color, semi-transparent, and consists of 80% of inorganic matter. The organic matrix of collagen is present in 20%. Unlike bone, dentine is also acellular in its form. In the section of the tooth, dentine shows radial striations. This is due to the presence of multi minute dentinal tubules or canals which log the dentinal fibers and tissue fluid. At the outer surface of dentine, these tubules undergo branching. Between the dentinal tubules occur collagenous fiber bundles. They are oriented parallel to the tooth axis and pass into the tubules. The dentines are intercremental lines indicating growth of dentine. The next portion of the tooth is enamel. Enamel is the hardest substance in the body. It is shining white in color and caps the coronal portion of cementum. It consists of 96% of calcium salt and only 0.5% of organic matter, keratin, and collagen are absent in this region. Enamel is secreted by tall columnar ameloblast cells. They are unusual cells showing elongated basal nuclei, below which cluster the mitochondria and above which are cylindrical Golgi apparatus and cisternae of rough endoplasmic reticulum are located. These structural units are the highly calcified into enamel rods and minute amount of cementing substance are extending from the dentinal border to the free surface of the crown. The deposition and mineralization of enamel matrix is expressed as oblique contour lines called incremental lines of radius. The free surface of enamel is covered by two thin resistance membranes, the inner enamel cuticle and outer keratinized acellular layer. These layers gradually wear off after eruption of the tooth. Now, the next layer of the Tooth is cementum. It is thin fibrillated bone substance which insheaths and protects the root dentine and anchors the root to the alveoli. It consists of a compact bone-like ground substance into which fibers penetrate. Cementum is non-cellular towards the neck, but near the root apex it is cellular, containing cementocytes in lacunae and their cytoplasmic process in canaliculi. Haversian systems are usually absent but develop in older cementum. Nutrition is provided to the cementocytes by capillaries from the surrounding periodontal membrane. So, in such a way, the histological structure of tooth is here consists of the crown which projects beyond the gum, root implanted in the jaw socket or alveoli, and in between them presence of dentine is there. So for the digestion of the food material, tooth play an important role, and it is helpful for the digestion and breakdown of the food material into small parts, by the help of which the churning or cutting of the food occurs in the food in the mouth. When food is present, saliva is secreted, so at the same time the mixing of the saliva with the food particle takes place, and some digestion, some substance which is present in the food, that means particularly the carbohydrate. So digestion of the carbohydrate is start in the mouth cavity. So by the help of tooth, the grinding and cutting the food particles takes place, by the help of which their surface area increases and helpful for the digestion.